morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 72 of my Yarny Corner. My name's Alex and I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and this is a podcast all about knitting and crochet. So welcome everybody. This is the April wrap-up video, talking about all the things that I've been making in April, all the trials and tribulations. Anything that I talk about will be linked in the description box below this video. So anything that you want to, any patterns that I talk about or anything like that, if you just click the little more button and then it should take you directly to that pattern. I am wearing my Granny Pop cardigan today. This is a fabulous pattern by MJ Off the Hook Designs. I think I made it last year. I made this and the Granny Pop sweater. Absolutely fabulous. I want another one of these in black. It is so comfortable, and there is a tutorial as well accompanying this pattern on MJ's YouTube channel. So if you want to know what I'm wearing, that's what it is. So what have we got to talk about today? Well, first of all, it is Sunday morning. It is the 28th of April, super early. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm up and on it this morning. It is absolutely pouring it down outside, as seems to be standard in the UK at the moment. So I apologise for appalling light. There's nothing I can do. I know that it's not going to improve at any point during the day. So there we go. I want to do the draw a prize for the Shop Your Stash Mal, which I've been running with Sue and Liz of Distant Stitches and Benta of Arctic Crafts. So I'm going to be drawing a prize for that. I've got a make along to share, which is not mine. And I have a new pattern to share with you today. So shall I start with that, or shall I start with... I've got two new patterns actually, because I've got a pattern out as well. I forgot about that. I've just noticed it there. Shall we start with all of that? So let's start with drawing a prize for the Shop Your Stash Mal. It's a year-long make-along. It's running all year long. All you've got to do is make something that is using 50%, I think it is, of your stash prior to 2024. So let me just go onto Instagram and type in the hashtag. I know Sue and Liz drew winners last month on their podcast, so I'm really behind. I really need to get on. Is it Shop Your Stash or Shop the Stash? Hang on a minute. I know what I can do. I've been putting things in the hashtag. I can just click my hashtag. Shop the Stash Mal 2024. I will pop that on the screen. So, Shop the Stash Mal 2024. Right, I'm going to pick winners the same way that Sue and Liz did. It's very difficult to pick winners on Instagram because it just is. You can imagine there's so many. You can't just allocate a number to every single one. So I'm just going to scroll and stop, and whoever I land on is the winner. So I have my iPad. I am not looking. And stopping on that one, which is... Oh, it's a litmus cowl. That's Sue. Sue can't win it. Let me do that again. Goodness. Let me go back to the top. Hand knit by Sam. So, there we go. There you go. You can see... Oh, they're gorgeous, aren't they? So, hand knit by Sam. That is Sam Renwick. And let's see what you've done. Not even press like on that. These seem to have taken me a while, but I have cast off my first pair of socks for 2024. Knitted in the J colourway from West Yorkshire Spinners. I used my own vanilla sock recipe, and thanks to my titchy feet, I have more than enough yarn for another pair. Oh, they're beautiful, Sam. So, Sam, you have won a pattern prize. If you can get in touch with me and let me know, I know you know how to get in touch with me, let me know what you would like for your pattern prize and I will send that over to you. So, congratulations to Sam. Right, shall we talk about a new pattern that's coming out? Let me just grab a little bit of my coffee. So, there are two new patterns that I want to talk about. One of them is mine, which I'll talk about in a minute. But another pattern, I have a discount code for you. Now, I'm going to pop the discount code on the screen now, which is My Yarny Corner, and that will give you 20% off until the 4th of May. The M, the Y and the C is capital, so pay attention to that because Ravelry is normally quite specific. So My Yarny Corner will give you 20% off until the 4th of May. Do you want to know what the pattern is? Oh. So the fabulous Anne from Toby Knits has brought out the most gorgeous, gorgeous sock pattern. They are called the Nanna and Me socks. They are absolutely fabulous. There should be a picture on the screen. I'm not sure which side it'll go on. The pattern was released yesterday. Obviously, I went straight over and did purchase the pattern. It was released yesterday and they are in honour of her Nana. It was her Nana's birthday yesterday, which is why she released the pattern yesterday. And they are just beautiful. The idea with these socks is you can make a pair for you and a pair for your grandchild. Or you don't have to, it's up to you. They have the most fabulous heel. Now, I believe I am going to have to... I'll double check, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen because I haven't looked at the pattern yet. But I believe there is a tutorial for the heel included in the pattern. It's just a fabulous heel and the socks are just amazing. I cannot wait to start mine. I've got a couple of things that I must finish first before I start, but they will probably be cast on next weekend. They're absolutely beautiful and you've done such a brilliant job on that pattern. I just think they are gorgeous. So if you would like the Nanna and Me socks, maybe make a pair for you or just a pair for your grandchild, or just like me, just a pair for you. I may make a pair for Danny as well. So that pattern, like I say, is out now on Ravelry and that code will get you 20% off until the 4th of May. How gorgeous are they? So yeah, really, really love those. And I did release a sock pattern as well. I've not even put them on blockers. I know some of you have already seen this sock pattern. It was released, I was going to release it on the 1st of May. I ended up, most of my testers had finished, so I just ended up releasing it because usually our updates are on the 1st of every month and it's normally a really busy day, so I didn't want to have to be stressing about getting a pattern uploaded to Ravelry and one thing and another. I will just say, if you've already purchased this pattern, there has been an update. There was a small correction that went out. If you purchased it on the website, that's also an update has been sent out. But these are available on the website on My Yarny Corner and on Ravelry. And these are the Gemstone Socks. I am so, so pleased with these. They're a really, really easy pattern. They are totally beginner friendly. I'll just take one off the blocker so I can try and show you the front. The back of them are easy vanilla knitting. So you've only got the instructions on the front. Just 1 second. So this is just, the idea is they just remind me of clusters of gemstones. And it's just a really, really simple pattern. Nothing difficult at all. So you'd need about 80 grams of a main colour and then a 20 gram contrasting colour. The contrast is only on the cuffs and the toes, not on the heel. They come in 3 sizes, 56 stitches, 64 and 72. Now, I did want to show you something else with this pattern because any of you that have designed sock patterns know that it's just never quite as straightforward. You sort of get an idea in your head and then you think, yeah, that'll work. Then you knit it up and for whatever reason, it doesn't quite work. Maybe the stitch count doesn't not the stitch count, maybe the stitch doesn't work as well as you thought it would or anything else. With this particular sock pattern, there is another version of it. Now, I'm going to show you it. I just need to grab the actual pattern. 1 second. So, I never ever do this, but I do want to show you this because I don't know. I just want to show you. So, the very first gemstone sock was this one. And you can see that compared to this one's got stocking stitch in between and this one hasn't. This was the very first gemstone sock. So I've got a hair in my eye. I really have got a hair in my eye. I did want to show you this because you can still make this. The reason I dismissed this is because it's all lace. You can see it's all lace. It just made it a little bit baggier. And I just thought, I'm not sure. So I dismissed it. And I did put these stockinette blocks in between just to give the sock a little bit more structure. But, but since then, I have tried this sock on. I've actually worn this sock around the house because it is the comfiest sock ever. It really is. I do not want to bring a pattern out for it because it's basically this. But you can easily knit this one if you just omit from the pattern, when I find the pattern repeat, section 1. If you just omit section 1 and only knit section 2 repeat, then that is what you will get. Section 1 was added for structure, but I love them. I absolutely love them. I really, really do. So I just wanted to give you that little nod that if you wanted to, I really shouldn't have done this. I really should not have done this. And it's one of those things, I was sitting here before I started filming. I thought, no, Alex, don't say that. You'll just make yourself look really silly. But I just wanted to share. You know me, I like to overshare. I like this one just as much. I really do. And this is version 1. I may write this down, write this up and put it out as a free update to this if I can pull my finger out. I've got a lot on during the month of May, so I know that I'm not going to be able to do it in May, but I may write this up so you've got both versions because I just think it was such a shame that this one got left. It had this pearl bit on it here, which I really didn't like, and I completely took out. It is here because it's needed here, and I put it here to mirror, so you got a nice mirrored, but I really didn't like it, so that won't be going in it. But the rest of it is just so lovely. I think I've raved about this more than I've raved about this. This is the gemstone sock. But they are both equally beautiful. So I may add this as an update. So if you've bought the gemstone socks, you'll just get this as an update. And I'll just call it gemstone version 1. But yeah, so these are the gemstone socks. I am so proud of these. When I first started to design socks, it was more of a case of I didn't find a lot of sock patterns that I could make for Danny. And that was the whole point of it. And I never meant to end up continuing to design socks. It was just, I was making some for Danny and I shared the patterns. That was I think the first one was the puffle socks. But I've really enjoyed doing it, so I've carried on and it's kind of just gone into all sorts of different designs. I've got another 3 in my book which are waiting to go, but I've not had time to pull my finger out with them yet. But yeah, so they are available now. Right, let's get on to actual knitting. 15 minutes in, and well, that was actual knitting, wasn't it? I can wear these now. I've been saving them for the podcast. So I am going to share another pair of socks that I have finished. I'm going to start with finished objects and then we will move into works in progress. So My next pair of socks that I've finished are these. As usual, I have lost the ball band, but I know exactly what they are, so it's fine. My friend Sue sent me this yarn. I think it was for my birthday. No, it wasn't. It was a random care package that she sent me. And this is Turtle Pearl Yarns. Oh my word, isn't it gorgeous? The colourway is Bewitched. And oh, I love them. Absolutely love them. So they are just my standard vanilla recipe, which is just 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbon, a 40 round leg, 56 rounds for my foot, a wedge toe and a shadow wrap heel. I got them more or less right on matching. There is just the very ends. This has got a purple stripe and that one hasn't. I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered about matching. I do match for Danny. He's not bothered either, but I think when you're knitting for somebody else, you kind of just do. So I do match the yarn when I'm knitting anything for Danny. In fact, I think I've made him some socks this month. Didn't I make you socks this month?
No.
Yeah, I did. Just remembered I did make Danny socks this month. Where are they?
I don't get socks.
I did. I can never ever save Danny's socks for the podcast because he takes them straight away. But I have made another pair of socks. I'll pop a picture on the screen.
I still haven't got my cardigan yet.
Oh, shush. That's Danny. If any of you are new here, you will meet Danny lots on the vlogs, and he's always saying he doesn't get anything. And if you spend any time at my yarny corner, you will know that is in fact an outright lie. Danny gets a lot of things. But yeah, so I've been knitting socks. I don't sort of talk about socks too much because I knit a lot of socks, and if I, shared all of the socks, I think you'd get a little bit bored. So I'll just kind of gloss over the socks. But there we go. I can finally wear these. I've been saving them. Right, now, my next two. Oh, my word. So, let me just grab a sip of coffee. That's Polly, by the way. Pollyanna III, Duke of Edinburgh, Master of Disguise, Adam Kershaw is her full name. Can't see now. I'll put my hand over her. Stuart's back there, but I don't think you can see him. And the dog's just sat here. I'm surrounded by animals. We have 5 cats, a dog, and a hamster. Oh my goodness me. So, for all you that have been here for a while, you'll know that our lovely Oreo passed away, bless her, earlier this year. She was fabulous. Oreo was our hamster. And I just loved her to bits. We got so used to having a hamster that the house just didn't feel the same without her. So I did get another hamster. Now, Oreo was a Syrian hamster, and we ended up with a dwarf hamster. So I'm going to put some pictures on the screen. Sorry, I'm sidetracking here, but I need to tell you this. And she was all white with just a couple of grey stripes and only like this big, just gorgeous. I'd never had a dwarf hamster before, so it kind of took a little bit of getting used to because Oreo would come out in a ball every day and I knew how much food she needed, I knew how much she'd drink, all that, so I could always monitor if she wasn't drinking enough or maybe not eating enough. I could always monitor. And when we got Annie, who is our new hamster, the dwarf hamster, she's so much smaller. And it's taken me a little bit of time to get to know all her little routines and how much she drinks and how much she eats. And it's just been fabulous getting to know her. And like I say, all white with these little grey streaks. And I went upstairs because we keep her in the bedroom because of Stuart. Stuart this cat here is a little monkey, absolute monkey, and we cannot have a hamster around him. Our bedroom door is always kept closed and the animals aren't allowed in there. So she's perfectly fine in the bedroom. Anyway, I'd gone up to bed the other night. Well, it was a couple of weeks ago now. And she had like all this grey bit here. And I said to Danny, what's happened to the hamster? She's a lot more grey than she usually is. And Danny kind of went, no, she isn't. She's fine. And I had this awful feeling, and I know it couldn't have happened because me and Danny always go out together, but I had this awful feeling that something had happened to the hamster and she'd been replaced because she did not look the same. And Danny kept saying, she's fine, she's fine. I said, she's not, she's more grey. It was just on her face. I'm going to be putting pictures on the screen as I talk. And I was accusing Danny and Josh of switching the hamster. Well, I went back on my photos. Obviously, my phone is full of pictures of the animals. And I said, look at her now and look at this picture. And you could really see the difference. And Danny said, it's the same hamster, Alex. I've not done anything. So I went onto Google, and in actual fact, it turns out that dwarf hamsters do change colour over the winter and summer. And during the winter, they go more white to camouflage easily. Well, now she is completely grey. Absolutely completely grey. And it's just, I was so shocked. I never knew that at all. And I was just like, oh my word. So she's completely a different colour. I don't know why you needed to know that. But yeah, I was so shocked. I didn't even know hamsters could do that. But yeah, so that happened. Right, back to knitting, Alex. Right. So, I had a pattern in my library. Actually, my friend bought it for my birthday, my friend Sue. And she bought it for my birthday. And it was a mystery knit-along that came out on the 29th of January. And it's called The Missing in Action MCAL. It was by Katie DeGroff Designs. And I really liked the concept of it, but I'd just done all the Advent knitting, which was a mystery, and I really wasn't in the mood to do a mystery. But I thought I'm just going to keep an eye on it because I think it's going to be a really, really good one. Well, I was absolutely right. When the pattern, all the clues were finally released, I fell in love with this shawl. So I decided to knit it. The good thing about this shawl is you don't need any more than 35 grams of yarn. Oh my word, isn't it beautiful? And I just fell in love with it. So I cast this on. The shawl came out in 5 parts. There were clues 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I believe mine's not been updated, so I believe the pattern is still in clue format. And I just did a clue a day. I just couldn't put it down. I got absolutely addicted to this. The texture, I cannot tell you. It was like this pattern was written for me. It really was. It was just everything that I want in a shawl was in this pattern. This first section, I don't know if you can... Oh, can you see that? Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? Obviously, you started at the top and worked your way down. Then you went into this. There was nothing difficult. This part was a little bit fiddly, but nothing difficult. Section 3 was the most intensive out of the whole shawl. Section 3 was the most intensive. Again, not difficult. But you can see this is section 3 here. You can see that, oh my word, that was worth it. It was this bit here that was intense. I'm not going to say what the stitch was. It was a stitch that I'd never come across before. And I didn't need any sort of tutorial help or anything because the pattern explained it so well that I was just like, wow. This is not brioche. It looks like brioche, but it isn't. There's nothing tricky. Again, I'm not going to say exactly what the stitch is because it is a paid for pattern, but it's not brioche and it's really easy. And this pattern was just so worth it. I want to make another one. It's not a huge shawl. It's not small at all. But I've kind of changed with my shawls now. As you all know, I used to love the huge shawls. And now I think as I've got older, I wear shawls around the house a lot more now. So I just prefer smaller ones. I still like a big shawl when it's winter to, to cozy up in. But around the house, I just like to put a shawl on, and I like the smaller ones. So isn't it beautiful? Look at that. It's so pretty. So this is the Missing in Action. And I just love it. Honestly, as I was knitting it, I kept saying to Danny, this pattern's been written for me. Everything, absolutely everything that I liked was in this pattern. It was the whole texture. I love texture. Anything that's got a texture on it, I'm there. And it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. I did play around with the colours a little bit as to what was in the pattern. I think this one being one of them, because I could see, if I was doing the mystery part of it, I think this black should have been the yellow, but obviously I could see the finished object, so I knew what colours I wanted where, so I kept the black in this sort of middle section here. I love how the yellow is right up here, then it comes back down here. All of the yarn is my Yarny Corner yarn, except for this one. I've no idea what this yarn is. It's been in my stash a really long time. It's a high twist, but I've no idea what it is. But all the rest is my Yarny Corner. And it's just beautiful. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Really easy to block. I just blocked it on the line. We had a rare good day with no rain, so I just blocked it on the line. And I just hung it up straight and then just put pegs all around the bottom to weigh it down. But yeah, it's just beautiful. I was so impressed with this. I really was. So that is the Missing in Action shawl. And I also have completed one more finished object. I have completed another shawl, which is one that I've done. If you've been here for any length of time, you know I've done this pattern. I think this is my 4th time making it. It's the Changing Staircases shawl by Dragon Horde. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's one of my favourites. It's a 1 skein shawl. And what I find about this shawl is it's really good for a statement yarn. Let me just show you it first. So this is it. It's a really good size. It is small, but it's not overly small where you can't still be snuggled in it. This is one that I wear around the house. It's just beautiful. So this is knit in my Yarny Corner Soul Sister colourway. I'll pop a picture on the screen of the yarn because it is going back into the shop this month. Like I say, what I find with this shawl is it is so good for a statement yarn. It uses the entire yarn. I will say, I've made this 4 times and I've never actually got to the end of the pattern before I've run out. I always have to finish it a little bit early. So you start at this top corner and you've got these lovely, it's just eyelets. It looks complicated. It isn't. It's just an eyelet section and a stockinette section all the way along with this I-cord knitting at the same time. And then you're just casting off for your little, I always think they remind me of dragon scales. I think it's because the designer is Dragon Horde, so I always think of dragon scales, and it's not. It's staircases. The pattern says Changing Staircases, but I never get to the end. I always finish it sort of like a section before the end, which it's just because I've run out of yarn, but it doesn't matter. It's never made a difference. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And when you use a statement yarn, by statement yarn I mean, you know, those yarns that are huge sections of colour. If you knit those into socks, they're going to micro stripe and they're going to look amazing. But if you knit it into something like this, you're going to get a large pooling effect, which looks, in something like this, looks amazing. So this is one of my favourite projects for the statement yarn. There are 2 patterns very similar. And I've said it before, and I've talked about it in the Facebook group. This is The Changing Staircases by Dragonhorde, which is a free pattern. And there is another one called The Close to You Shawl by Justina, is it Lakowski, I think? I apologise if I've said that wrong. Which is a similar concept. It's not the same shawl, it's a similar concept with eyelets and stockinette. And they are both fabulous. I've made them both multiple times. Both of them are my go-to One Skein Wonder shawl patterns. So I'll pop a link to both patterns in the description box below. But yeah, I'm just, again, it's really, really easy. There's nothing difficult. The pattern is really easy to memorise. It's a 10 round repeat. So you've got a stockinette section and an eyelet section, and it's really easy to memorise. And I just love it. So I have made that as well, and I'm so pleased. So that's all finished objects. There was something else I was going to say then. Oh yes, I need to talk to you about, because I know a few of you have asked already, the cardigan that I was making on the last episode. So I was making the Harvest cardigan by Tin Can Knits. It is unfortunately frogged, and it is not the fault of the pattern. I'm going to have to put some pictures on screen. I have probably a high sensory thing. You know that I like texture and one thing and another, and I'm really sensitive to certain stitch counts, stitch definitions. I didn't realise when, I didn't even think to look, when I got this pattern, that the collar, if you look at the picture on the screen, I'll try and zoom in, the collar is actually part of the top of the shoulder, and it looks beautiful. But when I kept trying it on, the difference in that garter stitch and the stockinette stitch of the rest of the sleeve, I just couldn't. It just made me feel weird. I kept knitting on it for a little bit, thinking maybe the weight of the cardigan will sort of like change how that feels. But it didn't, and it was no fault of the cardigan. It's, it's a lovely pattern. It really is. It was a sensory thing for me. That's all it was, a sensory thing. It just made me feel a little bit weird because the garter stitch is kind of really, really squishy, and then the stockinette stitch is a bit more firm, and I could just feel the difference. I really could. I know it sounds silly. I know it sounds really silly, but I really could feel the difference. So I ended up frogging it and saving the yarn. So that pattern is no more, but it's nothing to do with Tin Can Knits. It's just, it is what it is. I love Tin Can Knits. I make, well, the flax is my absolute favourite pattern. It really is. I make that a lot. In fact, we are doing a knit along with knit group starting on the 16th of May. We're all making a Christmas jumper. And I'm sort of thinking, can I convert the flax pattern to this Christmas jumper, because it's a colour work, and I've done really brief colour work in the past. I've made a pair of mittens, that's it. That is my extent of colour work. So I'm a little bit nervous about doing a whole jumper that I'm not familiar with and colour work as well. So I'm kind of trying to figure out whether I can use the pattern from the flax and attach the colour work to it. But I don't know if I can. I need to look at the numbers. I'll see. But that is one of my favourite patterns. In fact, I do think, is it Tin Can Knits that do the Strangebrew? I'm sure, I'm going to have to check. And that is something, let me just check. I can't spell strange. I was talking to everybody else. Ooh, dog's just run off and knocked my coffee. It's by Tin Can Knits. Oh, one sec. Yeah. So I knew I'd seen it. The Strangebrew is a pattern that it's a recipe for a top-down sweater that you can completely customise. And I may do this actually. So The recipe includes instructions for designing your sweater. If you can hear that, that's Stuart. He always coughs like that. It's because he's long-haired. For designing your sweater top down or bottom up, an overview of round yoke design, a plug and play round yoke guideline pattern. Just follow the pattern with no maths. Nearly 100 stitch patterns to get you started. A wedge design strategy for the more adventurous knitter. That sounds interesting. Yeah, the Strangebrew is basically a recipe that you can completely customise, add colour work to, all that sort of thing. I may do that. I may cheat and do that. Anyway, what was I talking about? Works in progress now. So, I have a sock. I'm not going to show you the sock. I've just shown you socks. So I'm not going to do that. But I have cast on. Oh! Something else that I finished that I've not shown you before I get into that. I finished my cross stitch. Do you remember I started trying to get back into cross stitching? I'm going to pop a picture on the screen because it's all the way over there. I've got the table pulled right in. I'm not getting up again. I finished it. I'm so proud of myself. I have not cross stitched since I was, I think, 16. I was a teenager and it felt so nice to be cross stitching again. And then I kind of got overwhelmed with it. I bought a kit last year and I just got really overwhelmed. So I ended up buying this smaller kit and thought once I finish something, it's going to, it's going to get me back on the road of cross stitching. And it absolutely has. I finished this picture. I have modified it. The pattern was a round picture. And I didn't want it round. I wanted to put it in a frame on the computer desk. So I took off the whole bottom section, which was grass, just so I've got just the caravan. So I could put it in a frame. It's not brilliant. It was only a really, really cheap cross stitch. And I'm calling it whimsical. And I just love it. I keep looking at it and thinking, oh. So I finished it. I am so proud of that. Anyway, back to the whips. So, knit group enabled again. I'll have to just move the table a minute while I get this bag out. You noticed how I say that when I enable all of you. So, one of the fabulous ladies at Knit Group, she makes the mitered square blankets. Absolutely beautiful. And she donates them to charity. So there's a lot of fundraising that she does for charity. And they are stunning. Absolutely stunning. She makes a lot of them. And every time she brings a new one in, I'm always in awe. Because she runs Knit Group and she does a lot for charity, she gets a lot of yarn given. So she'd said to us all a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to provide yarn for you all to make your own blanket. And, I said, well, can I have dual tone ones? So she brought me the biggest bag of dual toned yarn. And the pattern is not the Cozy Memories. I'm going to say it's a different pattern. And I'll show you the pattern first. The pattern is, I will link it in the description box below. It's a Sirdar pattern and it's for the dual spun Aran. I'm doing DK weight, so I'm doing a 4mm needle. This is the pattern, which she provided as well for me to make it. And I am absolutely loving it. So this is what I have so far. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it just gorgeous? So this is my starting square. So the way that you do this one, it's kind of got a wider section here, where the decreases are, and I really like the look of it. And what I like, I have been weaving ends in. I haven't done that one yet because I haven't finished this square. I'm weaving ends in when I get 4 squares. But what I like about this one is it's not done. I was trying to explain this to my friend Sue the other day. And I'm not giving any shade on anything about the Cozy Memories or anything like that. I'm not. I'm just pointing out the differences in the one that I'm doing. I've done the Cozy Memories and I've got bored of it. With this one, you can do this with the Cozy Memories as well. This is not, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like I'm saying, oh, this pattern's better. It's not. It really isn't. I'm just giving you a difference. Alex, just shush. You start here, and then you go here, and then here and here, then here and here, and then up there, and then across there, then up there. So you're sort of seeing this blanket build, you know, rather than doing the long strips, you're seeing it build. And it, for me, it's made a difference. You can do that with the Cozy Memories too. It's just a different way of joining the squares. That's what I was trying to say before. But I've really enjoyed it. I think this is all the colours. Somebody was asking me in the Facebook group how many colours I'm using. This many, which is 12. I wasn't sure how many colours I had. And I've added one of my own. I had this scrap of blue that I needed to use. So I've added one of my own as well. I think I've got another colour to go in yet. It may be more than 12. I'm not putting any rhyme or reason into the colours. All I'm doing is choosing a colour that I think will look nice next to the colour that it's going on. So for when I put the orange in, I think the orange was the perfect colour to go between these two squares. So my next square, where am I? This is so weird because the camera's flipping it the wrong way. So my next square is going to be here. And I'm probably going to do a light pink here and then choose what'll go. Do you see what I mean? So I'm just choosing the colour that'll go nicely next to this colour. That's the only thought I'm giving it. Other than that, it's going to be completely scrappy. I'm not sure what border I'm doing yet. My friend at Knit Group does a really good border, so I'm going to get her to show me how she does her border. I don't want to put an I-cord on it. I want a really nice chunky border. So I need to do 96 squares and I'm on square 12. So I'm doing really well. I can't work on it today because I've got something else that I can't share yet. You'll see in a week or two. But I've got to work on that today. So I can't work on this today. But I'm looking forward to picking it up again. So I'm working on that. And I think apart from a sock, that's my only other whip. Oh, I did say there was a make-along to talk about, didn't I? So I am umming and ahhing on this one because I have cut my whips down this year. And this could be the moment where my 3 whip limit gets blown completely out of the water. It really could, because I have my mitre square blanket on the go. The sock that I've got going on, I'm not too concerned. I'm halfway through the second sock. I can finish that, you know, of an evening. That's fine. So that one's not, I'm not really classing it as a whip. I also want to cast on the Nanna and me socks at the weekend. We've got Harry this weekend, so next weekend coming. So I really want to sit and cast on a new sock while we've got Harry at the weekend. So I'm definitely casting them on. I've got the yarn that I want to use, which I'm going to show you in a minute because it's new yarn. We've got the new... So what am I up to now? So my mitre square blanket, my new sock that I'm going to cast on. We've got the jumper at Knit Group that I'm casting on the 16th. So that takes me to my 3 whip limit. Then... Black Sheep Wools are bringing out a crochet along. Oh, I've got another whip to show you as well. That's just reminded me. A crochet along starting on Friday, the 3rd of May. Now, this pattern, I'm going to pop a picture on the screen, looks amazing. I believe the pattern's on offer at the moment for half price. I might just buy it. I might just buy it in a bit. And it looks amazing. It's a take on a granny hexagon, but it's 4-ply yarn. I have a lot of 4-ply yarn that I need to use, so this would be the perfect project. So I'm really trying hard not to join in the crochet along because I can do this pattern at any point. I don't need to join in on Friday just because it's a crochet along, but I really want to because I love anything along. Mystery knit along, mystery crochet along. As long as it's got the word along in it, I love it because I like to have that community with other knitters. So I really want to join in. And I'm just thinking, do I break my whip limit? The problem is, the way that my mind is working is, if I join in the crochet along, every aspect of me will keep up with it. It's just how I am. But I've also got the knit along with knit group starting, a week and a half after. So I want to keep up with that as well. And then we're doing the mitered square as a group at knit group. So I'm going to want to keep up with that. So I think all three of them for me are going to be too much. So I think I'm going to buy the pattern, but I'm not going to start it yet. I think I have to do it that way. The jumper and the mitered square blanket will work really nicely together because I'm not always going to feel like doing colour work. So I'll have my mitered square blanket when I want some vanilla knitting, which is fine. So yeah, I think I'm gonna, but it's coming out on Friday. For those of you that want to do a crochet along, it's coming out on Friday. Somebody shared it in the Facebook group. I had no idea this was going on. And somebody shared it in the Facebook group. And you know the little love heart emoji with the eyes that are love hearts that I use a ridiculous amount of time. I am aware that I use emojis too much, everybody, by the way. I am aware of it. But my eyes just did that. Like, wow! I really want to. And I've been watching all of the lives that Black Sheep Wolves have been doing on Facebook and just thinking, oh, my word. Oh, my. Oh, hello, Stuart. Have you woken up, darling? Yeah. Right, so that was that. I do have a little bit of progress that I'm going to show you as well. Last whip on my... Do you remember me doing all the squares at Christmas with leftover Advent? And I said I was going to join them together to make a blanket. I have started joining. So this is my granny square blanket. I'm just doing a join as you go method. It's a method that I've done quite a lot over the years. So there isn't a pattern, but there is a much better version of what I do by Sandra at Cherry Heart Crochet, which is the Battenburg. And she shows you how to join. If you go over to Sandra's channel and download the Battenburg blanket, you will learn this method. It's a really good way of joining. So basically, I've got all of my squares, and then I'll do up to the last round of a white, and then on, so I've got 8 rounds per granny. Then on round 8, I'll come in between these, and as I'm crocheting round 8, I'll join it here and add another square there. So it's a really good way of joining. But yeah, it's coming on nicely. How many squares? 1, 2. I've got 10 squares this way. I was going to do it 10 by 8, but my mitered square blanket is 12 by 8. So I don't know whether to do that. But then I think these squares are a little bit bigger than my mitered square one. Maybe 10 by 8 will be fine. I'll see. I'm just joining away at the moment. I'm just using an undyed yarn as my contrast colour. Is that the right word? And just joining away. I'm not paying too much attention to the coloured squares. I'm just kind of putting those in random. It takes a lot longer than you think. I thought this would be really quick to join, but because I've got to actually make the square to join the next square to it, it takes me about 40 minutes to make one of these squares and join it. So it's taken a little bit longer, but I don't have enough squares of these ones to finish the blanket. So I've got this yarn. This was Danny's last pair of socks that I want to put into squares. And I've got in here a few little extras that I want to make into squares. I did say at the time it's going to be a really long-term project. I'm not going to do any kind of rushing, and I'm not. Some days all I want to crochet is this, and I will just sit for the entire day and crochet this, and I really enjoy it. And then maybe I don't touch it for 2 weeks. Some days I crochet one square and think, no, I'm done now. So it's just one of those projects. I'm only picking it up when I want to crochet on it. So that is that. Right. last part of the podcast. I'm not going to share any yarn today. The shop update is on Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm going to put pictures on the community post, because if I share yarn as well, this video is going to be so long. I kind of have to keep it to an hour because it's the only memory space I've got on my phone. Once it gets over the hour, my phone says there's no memory for that. I need to delete some photos. Anyway, I did get some happy mail. Oh, what have I dropped? Oh, dropped a remote. So, my friend texted me on Wednesday and she said, Alex, have you seen the new Yarnsmith's sock yarn? And I said, no, I have not. I shall go and have a look. I now have a bag. I was putting an order in anyway. I needed some opal yarn. I'm not going to show you that at the moment because you'll know what all that's about in the week. But I need to keep them yarn labels. Yarnsmiths, which is Wool Warehouse, have brought out their own range of sock yarn. So I have these, I've got 5 altogether, 3 plain and 2 variegated. So I have these 2. This one is for me and this one is for Danny. Now, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 4 ply and 400 metres per skein. When this arrived, oh my word, you all know how I love Knit Picks Felici. My friend Sue sends me some from time to time. They don't do Knit Picks Felici anymore. It's called Knit Picks Felicini and I don't like it. It's not the same. It's thin stripes and I just don't like it. The whole point of Knit Picks Felici was that it was amazing. And they came out in updates, these colourways, and, you know, you had to grab them and then they went and they didn't do them again. It was just brilliant. The nice chunky stripes, they were fantastic. I don't like the Felicini. But the Knit Picks yarn is beyond soft. And every time I get it, it's just, oh, it's such a treasure to work with. When this arrived, this is exactly like Knit Picks Felici. The softness, I cannot explain. It's like touching a cloud. It really is. It's unbelievable. So Danny's colourway is, oh, it's got a shade. I believe it was Thistle. And mine, I can't remember what mine is, but it's pinks and greys, and it's that one. Oh, I cannot. Oh, I'm just like squish, squish. It is amazing. Cannot wait to work with that. Then I also got 3 plain ones. I got them to go together, which I think they look amazing together. So I've got a baby pink, a pale grey, and like a mint green. But the Nanna and Me socks, right? That's what I'm doing the Nanna and Me socks in. So this one is getting cast on. I don't know whether to do a Friday cast on or a Saturday cast on for the Nanna and Me socks. But that is, I'm going to do cuffs, cuff, heel and toe in white and the rest of it in this gorgeous green. So I did get them. Now, if you are watching this podcast on the day it goes up, until the end of April, this yarn is half price. This is $4.90 a ball for the solids, and the variegated is $5.90 a ball. Half price until the end of April. Grab it. Oh my word. Oh my word. Absolutely gorgeous. So that was Happy Mail number 1. Happy Mail number 2 I've been waiting for a number of weeks. And it arrived at the same time as this order. So when my yarn and this other order came yesterday, I was just like a kid in a sweet shop. I was like, oh my word, what do I do first? So, you know, I've got back into cross stitch. Well, a Peter Rabbit subscription thing came out. Is subscription the right word? A Peter Rabbit cross stitch collection came out. That's the right word. And I just fell in love with it. I'm not a fan of Beatrix Potter. I like Beatrix Potter, but it's not something where I collect everything. But I do really like it. And when this came out, I don't know what it was, I just went, I'm having it. I'm having it. Which then proceeded to me hunting the shops, trying to find issue 1. You could not get it. You just absolutely couldn't get it. Not where I live. It was being sold for like £100 on eBay. Absolutely ridiculous. So I never do this, but I ended up subscribing just because I really, really wanted it. So the first issue was like £1.99, and then you have to pay for 4 issues at a time. But I never do it. I never do anything like that. But there was no way. I just really wanted it. I just thought it's going to be such a lovely thing to be stitching all the time. So this is what you make. See, this is the first one that you start to stitch. And each issue has part of the pattern. But there are other things that come in with it. I mean, look at that little tote bag. That pattern's in it. This pattern's in it. So there are other things in it. Issue 2. It's got like an alphabet in it. It's just lovely. Look at, I love that one. Absolutely love that one. So that came, and I am just, oh, I just love it. Absolutely love it. So I did get, I've got so much stuff on this table in front of me. I really have. That was my free gift, which, because I haven't cross stitched for so long, I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing for cross stitching. I did end up buying a cheap pack of floss, you know, with all the colours in off Amazon, because my caravan one, I ran out of floss. So I think I ran out of the black. So I bought that, and I've got a box to keep everything in. But other than that, I don't have anything. So for me, for everybody else that's like really into cross stitching, this is probably like, yeah, I've got all that, but I haven't. So I was like, oh my word, that's amazing. It's got needle threaders, an entire pack of needles, a thimble, snippies, and a seam ripper. So if you need to pull back or whatever. And this is my Ada and my threads from issue 1, and that is issue 2. So I want to start that as well at the weekend. I had picked up my sheep cross stitch that I'd started last year, so I'm going to be working on both of those. But yeah. Oh, and that is everything. Absolutely everything. I don't think there's anything else gone on. Like I say, we've got the shop update on Wednesday, so next week is a really busy week. We had no end of trouble with the live. We did a live last week, and it just it went so wrong. It just went so wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. It started off, the camera fell off the tripod. Luckily, I don't use my phone. I use the like a little camera when we're doing the live, because it attaches to the computer. I've got to take it off and put it on a tripod so I can move the camera to show the yarn. And it just fell off, and the whole part that attaches to the tripod just snapped off. I've tried to fix it with glue. It's just not, because that part moves, it doesn't work. So that happened. I ended up having to, I didn't want to end the live because we'd missed the month before with the dog being poorly. So I ended up sellotaping this camera. It was so unprofessional, it really was. Sellotaping this camera onto the tripod, and then just being so gentle with it. Because I was having to be so gentle with it, I couldn't show yarn properly. It just went so wrong. And then Danny kept getting his jumper caught in the drawer handle, so every time he moved, he got stuck in a drawer. And then his glove ripped, and he didn't realise his rubber glove had ripped, and he really burnt his hand, and he was trying just to carry on, but his hand was throbbing. He was just trying to carry on because we'd already had so much go wrong. He didn't even tell me until we'd finished. He went, look at my hand. And I was like, oh my word. So it just went badly wrong, but we did have the live dye. It is not public. It had, after you live dye, it will then go, automatically go public, but it got stuck in a processing. and it's just been stuck in a process. And every time I try and click, it just won't click. So if you've seen the live, you've seen it. If you haven't, you haven't. I need to look at it on the computer. I haven't looked at it on the computer yet. I just haven't had chance. But yeah, I'll try and get that public. Not that it's that much of a great video to watch. We've never had a problem during lives, but that just went wrong. Suppose it happens from time to time. So yeah, we've got the shop update on Wednesday, so it's going to be a mad rush getting everything done. A lot of it has been done for the shop update, I must say. All pictures have been taken, that sort of thing. It's all the belly bands and all the writing of the labels. It's just been, we've had so much rain in the UK over the past few months that drying yarn has been so difficult. The problem is, it's not cold enough to put the heating on anymore. So the house, normally when I'm drying yarn, I'll put the heating on and stand the yarn rack, not on the radiator obviously, but just near a radiator, and it really, really helps. But because we've not had the heating on, yarn's taking much longer to dry. So everything's been sort of delayed over the month. But yeah, so yeah. That's on Wednesday. I've got a few appointments coming up next month. So it's going to be a really, really busy month. But we've not done anything. I kind of think we've done something that I was going to tell you about, but I can't think off the top of my head what it was. This is the reason why people write show notes, isn't it? I never do. Still don't. I said last month that I was going to write show notes, and no, I haven't. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed spending this hour with me. I've had a lovely time with you all. And there will be a video next week. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but there is a video coming out next week, and hopefully you will like that. And the podcast will be back at the end of April. I'll try and film the podcast episodes at the end of each month. It's much easier for me, but there's, as you've noticed on the channel over the past month, there's plenty going on, you know, so I'm still around. I've been posting shorts, and thank you for all the names on the last yarn, by the way, everybody. Thank you, I really appreciated that. But yeah, so right, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to get off. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, everybody. Have a lovely week. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, that is linked in the description box below this video. It's a great place to catch up with me in between podcast episodes if you want to come over and say hi. And if not, I will see you next month. Have a lovely month, everybody. Bye-bye.